セガサターンシロ
Hey everybody, what's up? Happy Friday, SHIRO Show live, and I've got SaturnDave here. I've got Emerald with me. How are you doing, Emerald?
I'm doing okay. It's kind of funny that the TV's kind of sitting on the table.
Well, that's better than floating in the air, right?
Yeah. You know what's really impressive is it looks like I'm actually rotated. Do you rotate my picture on the screen?
Yeah, it's a plugin called 3D Transform.
Nice.
Yeah, you can pin the corners.
Get the curvature.
Sorry?
You should get the curvature, so it looks like I'm actually on a rounded screen.
It would, yeah, that's true. It would that would be better. But okay, so you've given me something to take notes. No, the reason I have you I could have had the TV a bit bigger, but I need to make room for our browser here, which is like where's the browser?
I get it.
Right here. You see? Gotta get the browser going.
It's also my fault for not buying the freaking green screen. Oh, I'm still in the way.
No. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. You're just a tiny bit in the way. I can still scroll. People get it. It's aesthetic. But again, like, you know, if I had a real BVM or a real whatever consumer PVM or whatever on the table, it would take up a lot of space. Let's be honest. So
that's what you should do. You should just like drop the whole set and just film yourself in a garage and put me on a real BVM.
Yeah, okay. I'll go buy that BVM right now. You know, you're gonna fund it, right? We'll charge it to SHIRO. We'll charge it to SHIRO's account.
Charge it to the Patreon.
We'll charge it to Blue Moon
directly.
No, just kidding.
Oh man, it's turning into Space Ghost now.
It really is.
Wait,
because
what?
I'm looking at the feed, and the feed is way up here. But when I look at the feed, it looks like I'm looking at the browser scroll.
Anthony, did you say that my voice is turned into a robot? Is that what you said?
No. The show is turning into Space Ghost.
Okay. Haha, now I get the joke.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said that I'm turning into a robot. I was recording a cast with Mel, Sega Lord X, the other day, and again, that one little problem with my mic came back, and I was just like, oh no. I really hope this doesn't happen on a SHIRO show. So anyway, wow, we've got a lot of folks in the chat today. We've got Albert AM25, we got Anthony, we got Danthrax, we got Emerald Nova, Greg Lacquerware, we got Random, we got even Raimi, Super Ray in the chat, you know. So we've got a lot of folks here in the live stream chat. You guys are, as long as you don't step on each other's toes, you guys are free to comment or whatever. You know, I don't have Pat here with me this week. As you know, he got called into work, poor guy. And then tomorrow, I think he's got like 3 different parties to go to. So he's like Mr. Popularity. He's just gonna go.
He's always got those parties.
I was like, pace yourself with the drinking, you know, because you got to be able to.
He's missing this party. Like we got half as many people in chat that we do on YouTube right now.
Oh, is that right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Should I take that?
It's a different kind of popularity. It means the community is a lot more close knit.
It is, yeah. It's true. Right now, when we publish a video, a podcast, or something like that, usually on YouTube, you get about, unless it's some crazy anomaly, you know, usually there's about like 350 to 400 of the same people watching every video. You know, the podcast is a little different on the Podbean side. That part I have a harder time tracking, but it looks like a lot of people who are not necessarily regular listeners are checking that out. But yeah, when it comes to YouTube, I think it's pretty much the same close-knit community.
Yeah, it's probably
which is
harder
fine by
to
me.
penetrate. Yeah, it's harder to penetrate the YouTube algorithm, but I think Podbean is actually trying to have people like watch different stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to YouTube trying to get you to watch the same video essayist and late night commentator that you do every week.
Yeah. Speaking of video essays, I watched one that Norman Caruso recently put up, the game historian. I think it was whatever the latest one was. It Mario Kart? Well, I watched that one and the Super Mario World.
Kart. Mario
Kart, yeah, great video. Did a great job. I love. He's like the Ken Burns of video games, you know.
The Ken Burns.
No word of lie. I mean, I think he literally tries to emulate Ken Burns. Like, first of all, everything is like done like a PBS documentary, very clean, very, very tight. everything's just buttoned up and clean, but also the way he has people read. And then he has like the Ken Burns effect with like the image floating across the screen, and he's got like the Old West music. He'll be like some Japanese game developer, but it's like got this twangy Old West like banjo music, and I'm like
we're talking about a prospector.
It's like you're watching this documentary about the settlers or the Dust Bowl or something like that, but then instead it's like Yuji Naka or something. I like it. That's what he's doing. Is obviously inspired by Ken Burns, and so I appreciate that. And then Nick's style is to just load it up with memes and stuff like that, and I like that too. So I could go both ways. Give me some updates, Emerald. What have you been up to? You said you've been busy, right? Yeah.
So I've been traveling a little bit for work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into my work details, but that's been getting in the way of the dev stuff. And I accidentally gave myself 3 projects for the competition. I don't know how this happened. So if any of you guys tuned in for the Extra Life charity stream, I think I did it was probably only 13 hours or so, but I got this this tool working with everyone's help. Trekkies came on, Knight came on, a bunch of people came on. To try to export just generic images, whatever image you have, it could be JPEG, bitmap, PNG, whatever, and shove them into a Saturn compatible format. I'm most of the way done with it. I have to finalize the Saturn side of the code to make it actually useful to someone who doesn't want to reverse engineer the thing. But as of right now, I have this tool that you can put in images and it will at least crunch the colors and export them in a way that you can then try to load back up onto a Saturn using tools that are currently available.
Nice.
So you can export a TGA, and then Joe Engine has native TGA stuff. I think some of my earlier stuff on GitHub has its own TGA loading code that I'm gonna have to steal again. And eventually I'll have it so that you can do multiple different types of colors, so like RGB or paletted or whatever. And hopefully this Saturday at what was it, 9 o'clock Eastern? Is that what 7 Mountain comes out to?
7. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this Saturday, 9 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to try and do my level best to finish up that work and release it. And it'll be just in time for people to crunch the last 2 weeks to try and make a game if they really don't want to use Joe Engine's native tools or whatever. And then there's Bastard Baroque. I've been putting that off for a little bit. I got a bunch of text to insert, and then I'm going to try and do a 0.9 version release for the competition. Yeah. And then after that, Knight, you can comment onto whether or not this is even going to be remotely possible. I'm going to attempt to do a first pre-alpha demo of netcode where a SEGA Saturn can connect to a server for the start of a MMORPG.
No comment.
Yeah, that I can't guarantee.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So that part might not happen, and considering how much free time I'm going to have at the tail end of this month, I may just end up making either the single player version of the idea that I had, or just slapping together another 1 week game project and seeing how that does. And I'm sure Xenos is going to track me down to do some updates for Blue Skies. There are some things that I probably need to add to it. That's probably going to also be included in whatever I work on. But yeah, this is all completely self-imposed. I don't know how it got to this point, but at some point I need to slow down.
Yes. Well, you've also... Yeah. Well, actually, I would argue you need to speed up and hurry up and get done, because you've got an edition coming, right? You've got a mini Emerald.
Yeah, Emerald Junior. So we're calling him Emerald Junior for want of a name that has not even been discussed yet. I have a baby registry. I've posted it here and there. I haven't made a really good official announcement yet. I think I'll do it this Saturday where I'll be like, hey, everyone.
That wasn't private, was it? Was that?
No, because the reg. I mean, it was for a hot minute, but then the registry's out there. Right. I'm trying to get people to buy me stuff. So as of Black Friday. Yeah.
Well, sure. You're gonna need all the help you can get.
Yeah. Sign up to the Patreon for SHIRO, but once you're done, go over to
Buy
Emerald
some
Nova.
diapers.
Yeah, and buy me some freaking diapers, man.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to like contribute toward one of the baby registry items, and you're on the Emerald Nova Discord, you could go over and look at baby pictures. Right now, it's just ultrasounds.
Yeah. Actually,
That's the best I can do for you right now.
Arguably, if you got the headphones on and you can put the baby over your shoulder and code at the same time, maybe.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
One of the things on the registry is like a sling kind of deal. So I just like, I don't have a good analog for this. Like who's someone that just carries around, just like it's like Death Stranding. I get like Death Stranding, the kid.
Yeah, those things are pretty good. I've tried several of them. I can. The most comfortable are the ones that are like made out of fabric. You just got like the little bean there, and you're just trying to get some work done or whatever. Assuming they sleep.
I look like some sort of hunter-gatherer stage of society.
There you go. Yes. Yeah.
Someone just trying to gather berries while they're carrying their child in a loincloth type deal or something.
Yeah.
That's going to end up happening. Luckily, I work for the government, so I get 3 months to try and recover from the trauma of creating a human. After which point, I'm going to have a whole bunch of work to catch up on, and development is just going to come to a crawl.
Yeah. Pretty much. That first one is rough. Momphis can tell you all about it, right? Because he recently, I think, had a kid, and it just like. Usually when I check in with him, he's just like, yeah, I don't, it's been pretty much like full time, don't sleep, don't, it's rough. Acceptance is the best, don't fight it. Don't be like, why me, God? Like, just you did this.
This is my life now. Just
you chose you did this. Accept it. Accept that you're going to be a zombie and you're not going to get any sleep for a long time. And I'm not even kidding about that. You might go insane.
I mean, I had a dry run in parts of grad school where I could go to sleep for a little bit, but I feel a lot older now.
Yes.
Having done that.
Yeah.
I can't do all-nighters anymore, and that's like the most disappointing thing.
Oh, I know.
I used to be able to do like the full 24 on Extra Life. I think at one point I did a 36. And now like I hit 12 and I'm like out.
Yeah. Getting older sucks. Also, you can't do sugar later at night. Like drinking alcohol late is just like I want to like watch Netflix, but I also want to drink a beer, and then I'm just gonna like puts me to sleep. The sugar is terrible for you after So if you're like in your 20s, enjoy it. Just stay up late, drink as much as you want.
I'm already in my 30s. I'm catching up with you.
I'm saying for those that are in our community that are still lucky enough to be in their 20s or in their early 30s, just enjoy it while it lasts, because it catches up to you.
I can't even drink like I drank a lot of Coke Zero because I don't like Diet Coke, but I also don't want to have to drink a lot of sugar. But it's like the perfect amount of caffeine to keep me up. I can't even drink like Coke Zero anymore. Somehow.
Oh, no.
Coke Zero gives me some weird kind of hangover type deal, and if Ponut is to be believed, a professional drug dealer in himself, the aspartame or something in the Coke Zero metabolizes into some form of methanol or something, or that kind of just like it's like mildly poisoning yourself.
Really?
So it's like all the bad parts of getting drunk, but very mild, but mild enough. Or I have such a low tolerance that I'm just ready to like not function the day after I've had one too many cans of Coke, which is like the most pathetic thing ever.
Well, here's to Emerald and Emerald Jr. and the missus, and just trying to stay alive. I wish you the best. Get a bunch done now, because the end is near.
That's the worst part. I had it in my head that scenario was somehow going to be done before I had a child, so that scenario 2 could be about said child.
Right.
At this point, I might as well just give up and go Unity. I don't know.
Well, that's something. You could go You could go Unity and then port it backwards. I don't know. Oh boy. Anyway, but we do have the competition coming up, and there's already been a couple of entries, and some of them are actually really, really exciting. Like Trekkie's, he uploaded. It was like an audio video muxer.
Film muxer.
Yeah.
So it's
SEGA
supposed
Film.
to be whatever it's currently for audio tested.
Right.
ADX and PCM. ADX I think was an open problem. I don't know if Pone Sound handles ADX yet. And if it does, Pone is gonna have to come back and correct me as to what the caveats are with this. I thought that the film muxer was exactly what it sounded like, where you actually could get FMVs.
Yeah, you could basically mux in a different audio source for these translation projects without affecting the video feed at all. So it's not like you're having to recompress the video. You're just muxing in a different audio channel with the original video. So Sega Film was one of the proprietary video formats that a lot of Saturn games used. And you'd have a Japanese video, Japanese audio dub or something like that, right? You take the English audio and you just mux it in and rebake the file somehow with his tool, but it doesn't recompress the video. So you still have that same quality of video that you had from the original source.
I see.
Yeah, and that's a really cool tool.
It's a really fantastic tool, but I'm gonna jinx it by saying that there's been so much activity in the Saturn translation scene that it might be too late for it to be useful for new projects. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it really comes down to what games they're working on and whether they use Sega Film or whether they use True Motion. So, like, obviously, True Motion would require something different. I don't know, maybe like FFmpeg or something, or maybe Trekkies is working on a tool like that. And then of course you got what is there? There's True Motion, there's Cinepack, obviously that's like his wheelhouse,
right?
And then Sega Film. And then
so Cinepack, to my knowledge, is the popular one.
It's definitely it was cheap. It worked cross-platform. It was cross-platform as well. You could get pretty good across the board results for it. You didn't have to license. You would have to license it from Radius, right? Cinepack by Radius. I'm not sure about that actually. I might be talking out of my ass, but there was another one. The company that made all the sports games, EA. EA had their own proprietary video codec for Saturn as well.
Yeah.
But
there's Cinepack, True Motion, Film,
and EA's. Whatever they call it.
Thing.
Yeah. And you'd see it in you boot up a sports game and you get like the live sports feed videos and stuff like that with, you get the intros with all the home runs and stuff like that. Usually it was like some proprietary EA thing. I think they used it as well for, what was that game? Soviet Strike, because that was an EA game as well. I think they used it in that game as well. But yeah, so speaking of video, do we want to do this? Greg, Dan?
What's up?
Yeah, we Shadowmask mentioned in the chat here a minute ago that we are already using Trekkie's new tool on Stellar Assault SS.
You are? So that game uses Sega Film?
Uses Cinepack.
Oh, it uses Cinepack. So wait, Trekkie's Muxer actually works for Cinepack as well?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know if he undersold it or if I misread, but when I was reading
it's named Film. It's named the Film Muxer.
Right.
I didn't see the Cinepack part.
Right. I just assumed he was talking. Yeah, I just assumed he was talking about the format Sega Film.
Okay,
but,
I take back what I said. Cinepack is just so magnificently ubiquitous.
Yeah.
And also, maybe you want to be able to use your own. I think people can still do their own Cinepack encoding without too much issue. Especially considering the results from the last competition, not the Sega Saturn anniversary competition, but the FMV cross-platform competition.
Yes,
that Trekkies ran.
His Cinepack results were amazing, like compared to True Motion.
So the Saturn results were incredible. The N64 results were perfect. Shockingly perfect, and even the Genesis was cheating, hilarious. What?
The N64 was cheating. It was pretty much uncompressed video.
It was it was uncompressed video, right? I don't know.
That's the thing N64 had it had the ability to
do it.
Yeah, it had the ability to hold 128 megs of just nothing but uncompressed video, and it was just there.
Right.
And the bus could handle it, and you didn't have to wait for the CD to catch up.
So when you say cheating, Knight, you mean that never would have been possible in a commercially released game at the time, right?
Because of the cost of parts, yes.
Right,
The N64 had addressable space for that large amount of data.
Right. But nowadays, if you built a cart with, nowadays that flash memory is cheap and whatever, you could build a game like Resident Evil 2 with like perfect video, right? Technically using this technique.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, like at the time, it would have been impossible. Whereas Trekkie's Cinepack results could have actually been used in like a commercially released game. And they were really good. I've actually been like, that's kind of what I know him for now, is like pushing Cinepack farther than anybody else was able to push it, at least on the Saturn, so it's very impressive. Did you have another thing to say about that, or Emerald, or should we?
I'm surprised because when I opened up the utilities competition, I did it as kind of like, okay, people are asking for it. I don't know how many people are actually going to submit for it. And then we had like 5 entries last year or something. Mm-hmm. And now I'm thinking, okay, we'll use that as a baseline and assume there's going to be 5 more entries, but it's probably going to be less. But now, like, I'm imagining even more entries this year in every category, including utilities, because there's just people keep making stuff.
I feel like a lot
more than I was expecting.
The more tools and utilities that are made, the more projects we're going to see. And, because it's going to be easier for people to do this stuff if there's all of this tooling, that folks are able to use. So
the motivation for me working on the Emerald image converter, or whatever I decide to name it next, is that enough people have come up to me or to SX with random issues in Joe Engine where it's literally Joe Engine having a bug or being broken in certain respects.
Right.
And Joe is too busy with real life to respond to pull requests anymore. That I'm thinking that at some point we're going to need to like modularize all the stuff that we're working on and distribute more maintained or more up-to-date code. So in this case, stuff like Pone Sound. Pone Sound is self-contained. You import it, it works with other stuff, it doesn't fight with anyone. If you need to use it, it's there. If you don't use it, you don't include it, nothing breaks.
Right.
Joe Engine is very tied into itself, and it actually puts stuff into memory based off of how it assumes it's going to be used.
Right.
And it's kind of a little bit too specific for a lot of people's needs. So I've been kind of like encouraging people to think of Joe Engine as a learning exercise before going off and doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that stuff like these kinds of tools with some associated example code will allow people to just copy a couple files and shove things into their SGL-based game that they otherwise wouldn't have the ability to do.
Would you say that y'all is the same way? That y'all is like self-contained and of itself, or does it work?
I honestly, I have no clue what the full capabilities of y'all are. My only issue with y'all is that it's a continuous work in progress and the code hasn't stabilized to a point where, because I've talked to Mr. Kotfu about this a couple times. If I wanted to sit down and do a tutorial of y'all, the first thing is I have to figure out how to build the thing and get it to run on my computer, which is a non-trivial process. Because it's not like a Joe Engine where you download and you're ready to go. And the second thing is when I asked him, okay, if I write a hello world, will this hello world be valid, in the future? And he said no, because things are going to be changing too fast. In which case I would say, considering the current environment and the current results that we're seeing, and the fact that the creator of y'all himself is saying, hey, the code is probably going to keep changing in a way that your code is not going to work from year 1 to year 2 with larger projects, that is a thing that you have to consider. I can't recommend y'all to people that want to make something other than a learning exercise. However, the tools are being imported and made compatible with y'all. Y'all can use Pone Sound. And I think y'all, I don't know if it's been demonstrated, but I think y'all should be able to use ZTP, which is what I use for 3D, XL2 stuff.
Just sounds funny when you say it, y'all. Y'all should be able to.
Yeah. Am I supposed to be pronounced like Yaul or something
Yaul?
like that?
Yeah,
okay.
He prefers Yaul.
Yaul. Okay. But it's an acronym, right? It's an acronym for something I forget.
Yet another useless library.
Yet another useless library. Okay, yeah.
It's yeah. So
Got it.
The thing is, what if I was to recommend someone who has a little bit of practice on the Saturn, enough to be confident enough to solve their own problems, I would say take some baseline SGL and start grabbing libraries from stuff that you need and works. So sometimes that includes code from y'all, or more often it includes reverse engineering Joe Engine and fixing something, or taking something like Pony Sound or ZTP, or in this case, I'm sure this film muxer is going to come with some example. Here's how you play film on the Saturn code. And if it doesn't come with it, I know it's on the forum somewhere because Trekkies has done a tutorial on it. If not Trekkies, someone else. But there's a tutorial out there. So I think the future of Saturn Homebrew is going to be more longer-term projects that are going to be facilitated by modular. That's my phone. I'm sorry. Modular code that you can just plug in to SGL, as opposed to having a complete framework where you have to learn how this framework works with itself.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting caught up on the chat, but I hear you.
Yeah.
Ray says Cinepack is his arch enemy. So that's funny. But okay, so cool. You know what? It is exciting, though. It is nonetheless. It's exciting that tools continue to be written and that there's just more options for folks. I do agree with you that Joe Engine is kind of like training wheels. It's a very great place to start. If you are just getting in, it's probably a really good entry point. It's where XL2 started, and of course you move away from that once you get more.
Right.
But that's a great way to get off the ground and running, and it's already so well built out. Like you said, it has dependencies that are kind of closed off. So I like the fact that tools like Pony Sound are more open and just able to work modularly with everything. So hopefully we get to that point, and maybe even Joe Engine can undergo revisions where it becomes, less like.
So, yeah, lacking the ability to make a real game for this year's competition, I may just end up taking all of the currently available modular tools and do like the hello world of SGL-based Saturn. So like, here's how you play sound. Here's how you play music. Here's how you put 3D on the screen. Here's how you put 2D on the screen. Here's how you play a video. Here's how you handle inputs. Have all the code just right there in their own separate segments that don't talk to each other except through a master interface. The way you're supposed to do it.
Right.
Usually I just have to. I'm working on the last week of December and I put together something that works.
Yeah.
But if I can manage that, I think that would be. The thing that's mostly missing is that there's tools out there, there's code out there, but oftentimes there is not here's the basic example of how you get something to work, which is what Joe Engine does so well.
And I'll be honest with you, I think that there are a ton of creative people out there with a little bit of technical know-how that are not making Saturn games currently because it's too much of a barrier to entry, or even Joe Engine for that matter. Like, maybe I'm just saying there's a lot of creative people out there that are Saturn fans that would probably like to be working on Saturn projects and are probably just not over that barrier. And if it does at some point become more approachable, then
so my whole goal with my stream from the beginning has been to make document the learning process of learning how to do Saturn Homebrew and making it more approachable or more recreatable, or at least being able to reference something, even if you have to watch it at 2.5 times speed while making dinner or whatever, because I don't edit my videos. But I would say that in its current state, if you're just trying to make a basic 2D game, Joe Engine is as accessible as one can reasonably expect anyone to be, or anything to be, as far as making homebrew for a retro console. The only way to make it simpler is to do this enterprise scale piece of software like Unity or Unreal.
Right.
And those things are supported by a massive community of unpaid tutorial creators just saying, here's how I did this thing in Unreal. Here's how I did this thing in Unity. Here's my script. You can buy it for $5. You can copy the script for free, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
And there's not the critical mass for that. Any homebrew community, not Dreamcast, not Saturn, not PlayStation. It's just never going to happen. So Joe Engine, I would say, is a reasonable end goal in terms of functionality and accessibility. What I'm trying to do is one step removed from that, where I'm trying to say, here's where you get all these tools. you should have learned enough on Joe Engine where you feel comfortable grabbing these tools and playing with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like going to school, and Joe Engine is like an elementary school, and all of a sudden you're starting middle school, and now you have to walk to your different classes, and all these different classes are these different programs that you're pulling into your program, as opposed to having everything brought to you in one coherent package.
Right.
Yeah. But as far as the future of Saturn Homebrew, I don't think we can make it easier for people to start. I think we can make it easier for people to make something more impressive. And we probably have enough people in the community now that are able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's people like Shadow Jackal and Rami and are constantly working on something, and then you have the old guard like VBT and XL2 is still kind of recent, but he's older than me, so I consider him XL2 senpai or whatever. But that aren't doing as much active development, but when they show up, they do something cool. So I think the community is established enough where all we have to do is make it easier for the creators that are making smaller stuff to make bigger stuff. I would love to see what Ervilsoft would be able to do with a full 3D game and maybe a team member or two.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because he always makes good stuff, but his stuff is always just too small to compete with the big boys.
Right.
What he's done is more complete than, say, Hellslave or Blue Skies or CubeCat in terms of presentation and a complete experience, but they're always like 5-minute experiences. If he could expand it, he would be a definite competitor to fight against in the OG competition.
Who's the homebrewer that was doing the game with the Quiznos rat? I can't describe it anyway. It's just some kind of rat you play as, and you go. It's a platformer. I can't think of the name of the homebrewer right now.
So there's Zygo. That was a platformer.
Oh yeah, Zygo.
Yeah, who's that homebrewer?
That was Zygo was, and then
I forgot.
He made it 3D.
Yeah, let's say he switched to 3D. He started doing that.
That was not Seven Shades. That was I should know this. I feel bad.
Yeah,
I
you're
feel
a judge.
Yeah, I'm a judge. I should know.
Here.
And I wrote an article about this.
I know. Here's a quick way of finding out. Let's go to emeraldnova.com and go over to the community tab.
Well, wait a second.
I'm emerald.com.
I'll get there. I'll get there before you do. Here it is.
No.
Zygo. It's Jay Beretta. Jay Beretta.
Oh, okay, fine. It's Jay Beretta.
Jay Beretta.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the 28th annual competition coming up, 28th anniversary, not 28th annual. It hasn't been around that long.
Yeah.
Yes, 28th anniversary of Saturn.
It's a fair bit of research that I do in order to figure out, like, the SX community is ancient in terms of the internet. By my reckoning, it is 22 years old, coming up in April or something.
Right.
And that's only by like the earliest forum accounts. And before that, there was the IRC. And there was people that were here from the beginning that are still kind of orbiting around. They're not active in the community, but they're kind of like hanging out. I think like the earliest member that's still like super active in the Discord is VBT. And then like even the current website, Runner Dibs, it took it over from Ice Digger, who I think Ice Digger took it over or started it with someone else. And then there's like people that we're never going to hear from again, like Cyber Warrior X. Well, Cyber Warrior X came back recently. Okay, he came back from the dead.
Right.
But like, Rock and B or something like that. But
Rock and B. Wow.
Time. Yeah.
There's a blast from the past.
So I think what's unique about the Saturn community and Sega community in general, but specific to the Saturn community with Sega Extreme, is that we have this genealogy that I've tried to document partially on my website, that we have an actual history of continuous community for 2 decades, which on the internet is massive. Like I think like Usenet or something would have to be our competition in terms of length of stay. So like when you join into Saturn Homebrew, you're not like jumping into a little Discord server that no one's heard of, even though you kind of are. You're jumping into a community of people that have been around for a while, that have like lived and breathed Saturn for a collective number of years that is too long to count. So that's like something that's unique among the Saturn community. I don't think any of the other homebrew communities function like that. I think a lot of the other homebrew communities popped up a lot later and maybe lived and then imploded and died and then reformed with different people or slightly different people. But Sega Extreme is like a continuous existence.
Mm-hmm.
The NES dev, they're probably the only other group that I could think of.
Almost 30 years. That's crazy. I want to mention real quick before we move away from this. So far, we've got 4 entries, I believe. So we've got the city, the case of the city of Bodokaiba.
So Sensigalo has like, is this like his 3rd visual novel? Or is this an update? Because there's the lighthouse, and then there's the robot.
This is his second. This is his second in the series of René Bras, or
he's got multiple series.
But then
he's the robot one, right?
Neuromage Studio does the Red Moon series. Is it Red Moon?
So this guy is doing what I call like the spiderweb software approach, where you get a really solid baseline engine going, and you just crank out content, which is where I wish I was.
He needs the dude with Chris Mingle just needs to hook up with him and have Neuromage publish Chris Mingle, because it would work. It would be out by now, if they just did it.
Just focus on
use his engine.
Yeah, just use Sensigalo's engine. It's out there. It's on GitHub, and just insert all the text and insert the images, and you don't have to change anything about it. You just keep writing more Santa
and we
stuff.
could find out what happens to Stripper Santa, and then so we got Mr. Conan.
Instant.
Yeah. So we talked about Trekkies with his audio and video muxer.
Film muxer, yeah.
Film muxer. Okay, compatible. We got Mr. Conan with a recent work in progress for Lunar 2. Yep.
So there's an update for last year's entry, but I think last year's entry stopped at the first dungeon, and this one I think is supposed to be text complete.
Played up to Dalton on Mednafen without any major issues. Working designs, script inserted for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is gonna be cool.
So it sounds like it's text complete, but there's still like a bunch of stuff to do to like make it like a normal translation release. But on the standards of Bastard translation, which is where I'm at, it's basically done in terms of all the text is there and it's playable. At least it sounds like it is.
Cool. All right. Well, that's gonna be awesome. I know what I'm playing. And he's already published this, so folks can already check this out ahead of the results. Of course, Malenko put in his Tokyo Highway Battle Drift King 97, which was amazing. It was great. I played through it on real hardware.
What game is this? Is this because I'm hearing like this a racing game?
It is a racing game. It is a drifting game. It's got the Drift King in it. It's got Bondo, the tuner, famous car tuner in Japan. You basically are. It's a precursor, I would say. It's like the predecessor to the Tokyo Extreme Racer games on the Dreamcast and then on the PlayStation 2 and whatnot. It plays very, very similar. You're not necessarily going against street gangs, but street racing gangs, but you're going against individuals that are just kind of running around on the highway. And you're basically doing these drift battles on the highway, in Tokyo circuits, It's
I'm just
great.
I'm just so used to Malenko working on these wrestling games.
He did too, right? Oh, well, and then he's also working on another one, Terra Fantastica, as well. So and he's working on Bomberman. Actually, Malenko's also working on Bomberman Fight and all of the updates. Wait.
Is there untranslated Bomberman for Saturn?
Well, yeah, there's a couple. There's Bomberman Wars. There's Bomberman Fight. There's Saturn Bomberman, which obviously got translated. But no, Bomberman Fight is an awesome game. You got to check it out. It's an isometric kind of... it's an isometric battler. Like, it's 3D. The graphics are really nice.
Is this like Bomberman 64? Like... I don't know.
Not really.
Not really. No, you should check it out. If that's a blind spot for you, definitely check it out. I think you might like it. I don't know. You might not.
Any of the Japanese library is a blind spot for me. I haven't done my research on the Japanese library.
Yeah, and whenever I recommend something for you, you typically don't like it. So I don't really know. Not everything can be King's Field.
My problem with the Saturn is I keep looking for games that I'd rather make than play, and the ones that I do find, there's just exactly the wrong thing with it that I don't want to play it anymore.
I got you. Well, anyway, great game, Drift King 97, great game, and great translation, and really happy that he did because it was one of my favorites. I own a legit copy of the game, and I was able to use Knight's Patcher and patch out my own copy. It was good. So yeah, excellent. Highly recommend. And I'm looking forward to whatever other submissions that we get.
Knight, actually, Knight, are you going to be updating your SSP for this year?
Honestly, I do not know. Because like as of right now, I've been trying to get the Mode 2 stuff working on it, but I got burnt out. So I put that on hiatus for a little bit.
Okay, fair. But we can always go back to Walking Rotor to get the latest version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try and put one out once you guys start releasing things so that I could go through and test, but I can't guarantee anything.
Let's change gears for a second. We've had the privilege, SHIRO has had the honor and the privilege to be able to premiere the FMV intro of Stellar Assault, which is another fan project that's going on right now. A localization, full English, not only translation, but also voice actors, English voice performances. And I think what I'll do is I'll show folks the trailer right here, and then I'll also broadcast it at the end of the show, just for other people that happen to be getting on late. But I want people to be able to see this because this is the first opening FMV sequence with what is it, Renee Martin? Is that correct? Danthrax?
Yeah, that's the voice actress's name. She's playing the commander of the carrier ship that your pilots fly off of. That character's name is Aya.
Right. Okay. Awesome. And so this is. Should we call you the Stellar Assault translation team now, or should we still refer to you as the bulk/team?
Either one, I guess.
Either one. It's obviously you guys are infamous for your amazing bulk/localization, but now they're working on Stellar Assault, which is yet another.
You should just call yourself the Saturn localization team at this point.
Saturn localization. Yeah, I don't know. The you can call yourselves the Saturn Assault Troop or something. I don't know.
I was thinking slash and sass because we did bulk slash, and now Stellar Assault double S is sass for short.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have to keep stacking onto the name.
Stellar. I think that you just go with the first two. And
how about
the next game we do also rhymes?
How about Stellar Assault Troop SST? But Troop can be kind of like the Sakura Wars Troop because you're actors, get it? Troop. No,
we've got nothing to do with the Sakura Wars.
No, I know you don't. I know you don't.
No,
saying you got an act, you got a troop of vocal actors. Anyway, I say stuff. Forget it. Don't even listen to me. But
I got it, Dave. I support you.
Yeah. So of course, Greg, Lacquerware, and also our Shadow Mask have been working really hard on this part. Right? Am I right? And then Momphis is going to be handling a lot of the engineering portion of it.
Yeah, he's been sort of waiting in the wings for us to give him something to do while we get the script together. Cargo Den also is the other core member of the team. She's one of the script editors. She, I went to her specifically because when she had a bit part in the bulk slash localization, she played the adult version of Kina in that. And we chatted for a while, and I had actually originally been thinking that the next thing I worked on might be one of those Gundam side story games. And she was talking about her familiarity with Gundam, and I was like, I'm definitely going to need someone who knows, Gundam and other space mecha stuff, because I only kind of sort of do. We didn't end up doing the Gundam games, but the same thing applied for Stellar Assault. So I reached out, and she helped lend a lot of credibility to the script during the revision phase.
Yeah. I like Cerulean's SLT, Saturn Localization Team. Or you could be bulk/localization team, BLT.
If you ever do the Zeta Gundam for Saturn, I want to help somehow.
Oh, Zeta Gundam.
Yeah,
that one I don't know. That's one of the Gundam Saturn games I haven't played.
Okay, no, I just know the show very well. So like,
gotcha.
I don't know. I don't know if I can voice act for Camille or whatever, or I don't know if it goes out to Jiao and do double Zeta. But like, that's something. It's one of the games I actually saw in Japan that I decided, do I want to try buying this? I decided against it, but.
So you guys used Trekkie's tool for muxing the audio, and Shadow Mask, I take it, is like your audio engineer, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Basically. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, shouts to all you guys. Cardigan. Wait, did I say that right? Cargo Din. Yeah, shouts to all you guys. Just say to SLT, whatever you're calling yourselves. We really appreciate you giving us this opportunity. And yeah, without further ado, we'll go ahead and premiere that now. And then we'll premiere it again at the end of the stream. If folks want to like drag their friends in here and show them again towards the end of the stream, we can do that again. Okay, so here we go.
All right.
The Stellar Assault opening FMV.
Four years have passed since first contact. Earth, the third planet, fell under siege to an alien fleet the likes of which we'd never seen. The situation seemed dire, but to our surprise, the enemy were easily repelled, withdrawing at the first show of resistance and vanishing as swiftly as they'd appeared. Their technology had simply been no match for that of mankind. Considering the minimal damage done, there was perhaps a silver lining to the incident. The attack had unified us, bringing an end to eons of conflict over ethnic and religious divides. Afterward, we studied what we could from the wreckage of enemy ships, but there was precious little to be learned. The vessels had been outfitted with self-bricking mechanisms, making them all but impossible to examine. Then, 2 years later, there was a second contact. The identity of the alien menace remained a mystery, but this time, we were ready for them. Knowing another encounter was all but inevitable, we'd work together as one human race to make preparations to intercept and attack. Having only incurred minor damage in the previous clash, we'd assumed the enemy would be even easier to repel this time. But the alien invaders had another surprise for us. Their once outdated technology had evolved immensely in 2 years' time. It was now nearly on par with our own. Had we not undergone a technological revolution over those 2 years, they might have wiped us out then and there. Then, as the battle descended into chaos, the enemy vanished yet again. This time, however, we were able to track them. They had performed a series of space-time jumps, consolidating their forces at the edge of our solar system. And then, with a mysterious blast, disappeared altogether. Some theorized they'd recognized their imminent defeat and self-destructed. But ultimately, we determined it safest to assume they'd escaped, leaving open the possibility of a future encounter. Another 2 years passed, and now they've made contact for a third time. This time, certain facets of their technology have surpassed ours. This comes in spite of humanity's strengthened coordination and further technological advances since the last contact. We no longer have the assurance we once did. Only questions. Why do they attack at 2-year intervals? Where did they come from? And who, or what, are they?
Cool.
There you have it.
There you have it.
I noticed there's scan lines on the video feed. Is that something that you added with the display?
A little bit. Well, okay, so it's 144p. What they sent me was like what they sent me was I essentially had to scale up really, really big, and so there's a lot of like artifacting in there that I'm trying to mitigate a bit with scan.
The scan less helped. 144p it would not look terrible on a Saturn, but it does.
Right.
I'm watching it on a 4K screen.
Yeah.
So I see everything that's
it's
happening.
Literally 320 by 160 is what it was. So it was a wide format video as well. But anyway, yeah. So
thank you everybody in chat for your kind words.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, that was amazing, you guys. Everybody, I'm so excited. This is if you don't know, for anybody who doesn't know, this is kind of like a Star Fox. I would say this is kind of like Saturn's Star Fox meets some of those like Galaxian games. You know, it's got different vibes, but yeah, the beautiful like flat shaded polygon artwork. You know, it's just the whole game has a vibe to it. I'm really, really excited about this release for sure.
And in Sega's infinite wisdom, we never got it in the States.
Of course.
Yep, this February, Stellar Assault SS will have existed for 25 years, and what you all just heard was, its script in English for the very first time.
Mm-hmm. And Greg was really good to put a link to Renee's website so folks can click on that and learn more about the voice actress.
Yeah, Renee's been doing a great job for us, and we still have a couple missions left to record with her.
Is there any chance at all that the game will be playable by the competition's end?
No, because we don't want to put out, like with Bulk Slash, we don't want to put out a half-translated game just because we are worried about, a half-translated game floating around the internet, being on ROM or being on different websites out there.
I agree.
Facebook groups.
I agree with that.
Done. People won't actually get the fully translated one. They'll think, well, why did these idiots only do half the game?
Right.
Why did these idiots only do half the game?
I mean, you guys already pick up enough flack when you do like this complete project that's beautiful, and then people are like, you should have just done a
subtitled.
Exactly. Sorry, there's a really loud truck.
That was the stupidest argument I heard. I was so like, it was so frustrating on Tinder seeing people saying they should never have translated. They should have just left it be Japanese only. It's like, you could just play the game.
Go play the Japanese game. Get the heck. There's the door. Get out of here. I'm like, come on, seriously. So yeah, no, I
don't realize that there's like, it's not like you can just type in subtitles and voila. It's it is a possibility we've examined in both cases, and I mean, maybe it is doable. I can understand why people would want that. We just don't know how to do it.
I mean, honestly, you guys have also, like I've said it before, so it's a little cliche, but I'll say it again. You guys have set the bar incredibly high, not just for Saturn projects, but for homebrew or just for fan localizations with voice dubbing. Very high. The bar has been set very high. So you guys, I can imagine you're like, how do we follow that up? Like, how do we follow our own work up? And again, you want this to be representative of your best work. So I understand why you wouldn't want to put something unfinished out there. Definitely. But when it's ready, man, it's going to be amazing.
It's probably going to be an easy number one for the 29th.
Well, yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice to submit it next. I'd like to.
Is that early on that you don't know if it's going to be ready in a year?
I think it will be. I mean, honestly, we've done like the bulk of what there is to do. So it's an interesting comparison to Bulk Slash, because in some ways it's a lot easier. Like in terms of what is required as far as hacking, there's basically no visual component to this project at all. Except that Dan like de-Englishified the main menu a little bit.
Yeah, and I did that in a day back in July.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, before we even had a complete script. And there, even the end credits of the game are mostly presented in both languages for some reason. Maybe they thought, hey, this might get localized.
Right.
I think there
that's
are
just
some
Japan
names.
being Japan.
But
Yeah,
honestly,
well, it's still
I agree that this, if any game would have been localized, this made so much sense. Like, why was this game not localized?
It fits. It competes with Star Fox. It fits in the whole Saturn arcade type deal.
Well,
Yeah.
and Star Fox. I mean, there were also, you had the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games are very popular on PC.
Right.
Wing
Yes.
Commander, which are, closer in genre to this than Star Fox, I would say. And then you had Colony Wars on the PS1.
Right.
So
exactly.
Saturn's Colony Wars in a way. And they
Colony. So Darklight Conflict, I would say, is a bit more like Colony Wars, or like the which we did get Darklight Conflict. It's kind of a poor man's Colony Wars, and then those other games with the Mark Hamill in them. What are the Wing Commander games? Kind of like Colony Wars. This one, are you not on rails? You're on rails, right?
No.
It's easily mistakable for a rail shooter because there are many sequences where you initiate autopilot, and those are basically like you're watching a railed sequence play out, and it happens seamlessly between action sequences, which are free roaming.
But then you're free roaming in 3D space, and you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. Definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool banter between the pilots as you're flying, and at the beginning of missions, at the end of missions. So it's been kind of fun getting those recordings, and we have not started putting all of that into the game yet. We're getting there right now. Shadow Mask has just been working on getting all of Renee's briefings into the game. So he did, Lacquer, didn't he just put like a bunch of them in the folder? I gotta put those into a patch so we can check them out, because right now we've just got a patch with the intro that we've checked out.
Yeah, I believe the other briefings. So we're basically working toward a mini demo of the first several missions of the game. And so each one starts with a briefing, and then there's the VO during the gameplay. And I believe the FMV briefings are basically all set. So now it's just a matter of cleaning up the in-game VO and then injecting it into the game, and then we should have something hopefully very soon.
Nice. So I was gonna say, yeah, there's absolutely no way that I'd want to be looking at subtitles when I'm trying to focus on the HUD, and enemies coming from all sides, in the map, and there's like a radar, right?
There's a radar. Actually, I can't remember now.
Well, so it's like an integrated HUD radar type deal, where it's like a reticle that rotates around the axis.
Yeah, there's red lines that kind of are in the direction of enemy fighters that are nearby. And so you kind of like point your nose to follow those to find something to shoot at.
You don't want to be reading subtitles, and that's another thing with Bulk Slash. They're voice navigators, specifically they are voice navigators. What's the point of having subtitles for that? So it's always funny when
Bulk Slash, I think in particular, was not conducive to subtitles.
Definitely
Stellar
not.
Assault could have, because most of the dialogue happens during those autopilot sequences.
Right.
It's also a little slower.
Yeah, and it's not this constant, like they're not directing you the way they are in Bulk Slash or Burning Rangers. It's more like, I mean, once in a while, someone will chime in during the action, which is actually pretty cool. You'll be fighting, you'll be fighting and free roaming, and then you'll hear your captain chime in and be like, "All right, onward to the asteroid," or
new enemies jumped in.
Do a barrel roll. No, it's just kidding.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that subtitles would ruin the experience. We just don't know how you would do that on a Saturday.
Somebody else
could
do.
You don't feel like reverse engineering the assembly to insert a subtitle routine.
Yeah.
When it's super easy to just replace, audio files.
Yeah, and the ultimate experience is going to be so much better. Don't even worry about putting text on the screen. I mean, keep it as it was, but just with
it looks
English
like
audio.
all the text on screen is already in English.
Yeah,
right.
pretty much.
Yeah.
There's basically no Japanese text in the game.
Which is another reason why when you fire it up, you think like, why did this not come to the US? It's crazy, you know?
Well, it's especially strange because the previous game, Shadow Squadron, did come out in the US.
Right,
but
exactly.
Maybe they just felt like the time had passed.
That was
I can see how you would.
Well, that was a 32X game, right?
It was a 32X game, yeah.
Right.
And I think there's some confusion about this one. This is not. It's basically a ground up remake or reimagining. So it's not a port. It's like they took the base idea and remade a game from scratch. And unlike the 32X game, this one has a whole, voice drama playing out over top of it. So it's, it's easy to see why they would make a game like this, because it's a great showpiece for the power of CD technology and the Saturn, right? It's a great 3D showpiece for the Saturn that's full of CD audio that allows you to have voice actors. So I think at one point that would have looked very impressive, but I can also see how you would have looked as a US executive. You could have looked at the Colony Wars series and been like, well, this doesn't look as impressive as that, so maybe the ship has sailed. Although I find this game a lot more fun to play.
and in full honesty, I think that it has aged so well because it's stuck with the flat shaded polygons,
Yeah, agreed,
like that
agreed.
look has endured, whereas like some of the grungy, grimy textures of the mid 90s, don't hold up as well today. But folks are still like that clean look of flat shaded polygons, because it's an aesthetic, So yeah.
This game does this hyperspace sequence frequently,
right?
And I never get sick of it. It's so cool looking.
It's so cool.
All it is the dot, like individual pixels that represent stars, and they turn into lines. But it looks so good.
Yeah, such a simple little effect, but it looks so good. Yeah. So that's awesome. We'll show the trailer one more time at the end of the stream. So if folks missed it, if you have friends that you want to pull into the stream and say, hey, they're going to show it at the end, probably around, I don't know, if we talk about news, probably around the 4:30 mark. So you can grab folks and pull them in. But yeah, we'll show it one more time as we end the stream. And then I guess we need to talk about news because Dan wrote up our only 2 articles. Forever.
Can I just ask them one question?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Have you guys looked at the demo disc for SS yet? Because you might be able to submit that for the competition. This way you don't have to worry about mixing with the normal stuff.
The demo disc, like the original Japanese demo for Stellar Assault?
Yeah.
No, we had not thought about that at all.
Was that a Flash? Was that a Sega Flash?
I don't know which one it was. I just know a demo exists.
Interesting.
I guess if we had a minute, we could maybe look at that. I mean, that would at least be distinct from the final game.
Yeah. Because it even has the text,
also
right?
function as an actual demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll talk about it.
My priority has been on getting a demo to you guys, SHIRO guys, before the holiday. I hadn't. I wasn't aware of the demo disc, a demo disc already existing. But we're just we've kind of.
I wasn't either.
Toward...
I wasn't either. That's so. I'm glad Knight brought that up because honestly, when it comes to there were many Sega like Japanese Sega Flash discs released, and I'm not really familiar with what's on most of them. I have all of the PAL released Sega Flash discs, but of course PAL Territories would not have gotten that demo. So yeah, it's interesting. Okay, cool. Great question, Knight. Maybe that's food for thought. Double dipping.
Speaking of, if I can just say real quick.
Yeah.
Speaking of food for thought and Knight or other developers, one of my sort of wish list items that I've kept in my pocket this whole time is this game doesn't support the Saturn mission stick, even though it supports analog control and is a flight sim. And that just feels like a glaring omission that I would love to find a way to try and address. kind of like we did with Bulk Slash and the Twin Stick. I know the Twin Stick has maybe fewer barriers because it just kind of registers as a regular pad. But the fact that this already supports analog control, and granted I'm not at all tech savvy, that's given me hope. So if anyone is interested in helping us investigate that, we definitely
mission stick is what you're asking for. Mission stick support.
Yeah, it's the analog flight
3D
stick.
analog controller.
Yeah. So as I understand, the sticks only came in digital and analog formats, which basically just means they're remapped 3D pads or 2D pads. So if it supports the 3D pad and you just wanted to customize the button mapping, I feel like you could like override certain memory addresses or register addresses that they're looking for on the input. Presumably you guys have done this before, so
you're confusing Twin Sticks with Mission Stick. Mission Stick's a whole other animal.
Mission Stick is different. It's a 3D flight stick.
I get it, but is it not just a remapped 3D controller?
I don't think so.
No,
well, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah, like it's not like you plug it in and the buttons are all mixed up, but it works. It doesn't like recognize any inputs at all.
Yeah,
it might be because it's getting screened out by the accessory ID. I thought it really was just a remapping of the buttons.
I suspect that. I mean, not really knowing much about how this works, it seems like there's a check that the Saturn performs when you boot up the game that looks for specific peripherals that are supported, and there's like a peripheral code for the Mission Stick that's just not like they didn't program the game to
it's just not in the if statement, but presumably that would be one command somewhere in assembly during boot up for polling for input that if you know what numbers to look for or what sequence of numbers to look for, it should be doable. Obviously, this is me volunteering you guys to do some sort of hard work, but I can visualize what it would take to do something, and then if it's literally just remapping a 3D controller and it already supports 3D controller, it might just work out of the box.
It's more complicated than that.
Yeah, well,
I mean, for
we'll
all
see.
we know, they're doing a direct mode and they're writing their own code. We have to go in and check.
Okay, so let's talk about some news. So here's what we got. We got 2 articles to talk about, and then we're gonna list our page. We're gonna shout our patron supporters. We got credits, and then we also got another. We're gonna play the premiere one more time. Okay, so we got to crunch all that into the next, 20 minutes or whatnot. So thanks to Dan again for writing our news articles on our site. Been super busy, and he always comes to the rescue with at least a couple articles that we can talk about. Before I forget, what did you say that we should mention that wasn't actually an article, but we should talk about it?
Yeah, so the story I was going to put up today, but I have not, is that Yabasan SHIRO was announced to be coming to Steam, and there's a Steam page for it right now, and it was just put up and announced a couple days ago by the developer DevMeax in his own Discord and on his Twitter, but that page had said it was going to come out today, December 16th, and when I woke up today, it changed to coming soon, and it's not actually released. It still isn't as of a couple minutes ago. I refreshed the page again. I have a story all written up for it about it releasing, and I can't put it up because I thought about changing the story to, well, it was announced to come out, but it's not out. No one knows why, because he's not answering any questions from anybody on his Discord. But I figured no one would care about that, so I'm just going to hold on to the story till he eventually actually puts it out. I'm assuming he's putting Yabasan SHIRO on Steam to make it easier for people running Steam Decks to use Yabasan SHIRO. Although I would think you still need to find a way to sideload the Saturn games onto your Steam Deck. Maybe that's easier than executing code, like an emulator that's outside of Steam. Maybe it's easier to have that part downloaded from Steam. I don't know. I don't have a Steam Deck myself.
There was something else you mentioned too. Another big piece of news that we were supposed to talk about it.
Christmas Nights video that you posted.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. DigiValentine just released another video kind of going over more of the data mine that Grummer Warden and their team have been working on in relation to Christmas Nights. And part of while there hasn't been that much unearthed as far as the data mine goes, who knows? They've still got quite a bit of stuff to go through. But one thing that they noticed was that there was a cheat provided, like a cheat code that looks like basically like an action replay code that unlocks an additional level, Frozen Bell, completely playable in Christmas Nights, whereas Christmas Nights was originally just the first, it was basically just the first level of Claris's and Elliot's level, and then I think Frozen Bell was only available as like the first course on a link attack mode, but basically this code that was provided basically unlocks it and makes it fully playable. In addition to a few other little revelations, but a great video. Folks should go check it out if they don't subscribe to DigiValentine. He's basically like the Knights guy, has been for years. So check that out if you guys didn't. I didn't write an article up or anything on it, but it's just a Twitter share, and I definitely think folks should check it out if they're interested in Nights or Christmas Nights or that
project. So they
project.
had a whole extra level on the disc, and they just didn't bother to unlock it.
Yeah.
Like playable for the first course of it, with like a Christmas theme and everything, but only as like a Link's attack type of thing. But
right.
When you put in this code that's revealed through his video, then you can play all of the courses
right
in that level.
Right.
And I think you don't even have to do it as a Link attack. You can play as a regular level, but it kind of screws up at the end.
Right.
It doesn't know what to do, so it kind of loops back to the beginning.
Right.
But
okay.
Yeah.
Because whenever I played Christmas Nights, it's only ever been the first level, and I thought that was it.
Exactly.
It's one of the presents.
You got to open the Christmas presents first so that you get the Link attack mode, then put in the code and it'll unlock the entire level so that you can. But again, it just speaks to, and they found some other assets. They found some like unused assets, simple stuff like an exit sign, some merch, Japanese, like exclusive Japanese merch that was never shown or never accessible through the regular Christmas present menu. But cool stuff. They're digging up cool stuff from those discs. It's a lot of fun to see that stuff come to light. I'm a huge Knights nerd, so I'm always happy to share that whenever stuff like that comes up. Next up, Radiant Silvergun recently released on Switch gets bug fixes. Top score replay website. And a top score replay website. Okay, so Dan, shoot.
Yeah, so sorry I didn't write the story a little earlier this month. I didn't notice it until early this week, but yeah, the publisher of Radiant Silvergun on the Switch put out a patch that kind of fixed up a few things. They're very general with how they explain in their patch notes what they did, but it seems like they tried to fix up the graphics to make them look a little more in line with the Saturn original game. I guess some of the background images were kind of messing up, so they changed something to have them the aspect correct. And the sound effects had some issues. They worked on that. When you're replaying a run, looking at replay data, sometimes it wasn't working correctly. It wasn't playing back correctly, exactly the way that it was originally played. So they did some fixes for that too. And then I guess they also made it so you can skip through all the logos at the beginning when you start up the game. So I guess that's a nice quality of life thing.
I gotcha.
But yeah, the other thing that they did was they put up this neat little website where you can actually access those top score replays. Their treasure is uploading to their official YouTube, which their official YouTube has like 2 subscribers. It's insane. No one knows this thing. But they're uploading videos from the game of people who achieve the top ranks in all these different categories, original or Ikaruga mode, horizontal or vertical, Switch or Xbox, different difficulties. They've got all these different videos, and I assume they're going to update them every few days or every week or something, because they put up a big batch of videos a couple weeks ago, and then they did a smaller batch a few days ago. And so you can just like watch an entire playthrough of someone who got on the high score table. And
that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm looking for their YouTube channel and I can't find it.
It's linked in my story.
Okay, sorry.
It is, yeah, which is awesome.
Periodically Treasure's official YouTube page, and that's the link. They also put up a page, and I didn't have this in the story, for their Ikaruga port. You can watch replays of top scorers in Ikaruga, so that's neat because Treasure, of course, made that game too.
Yeah, I see that. They've got Switch, Xbox, they got Ikaruga, so that's really great. That's awesome.
Yeah, they just announced the Ikaruga one a couple days ago in a
Let me check that out.
So if you look at their Twitter page, you'll probably be able to see that it's just in Japanese, I think. But yeah. See, this is for Radiant Silvergun. They have a completely separate.
I clicked Ikaruga right there. Oh, it's just completely.
Ikaruga mode.
I am subscriber number 22 on Treasure Official, and it looks like they have Ikaruga and other games, Radiant Silvergun, in their lineup on the same YouTube page.
Cool.
Yeah, Dave, you're looking at is the Ikaruga mode within Radiant Silvergun.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Also, they have a separate page for replays of Ikaruga as a separate game. Because you also have that on Xbox 360. I don't remember if that's also on the Switch. Maybe it is.
Okay, great. Well, that's good. Good to see such support for folks that picked up this game. You know, that's really inspires confidence that folks can pick this up and that they're gonna continue to patch it and make it better, a better playing experience, and then add quality of life features and extra little things. Like that website is really cool. I think I can see that being like the next stage of leaderboards, having the videos like that. That's awesome. And again from Dan is just another Fenrir firmware update for the Duo, which
even more for, because this came out a month ago and I did not realize until like last weekend.
Shit. Knocked over my. Oh crap.
No.
Oops.
Yeah, I like. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta change that. Deactivate, activate. There we go. Okay.
Would you pour coffee on your audio mixer or something?
Luckily, it was empty, but I reached over and like dropped it on there, which made it kind of like the USB kind of disengage. Yeah. But luckily, it's hot pluggable. What I meant to do is reach over here and just kind of make this bigger for folks so they could see what it actually provides. Updated internal components, improved boot speed, new queue parser, improved SD card compatibility, minor fixes, and then improved drive detection on the Duo.
Yeah, so this firmware is only for their new model that just started shipping out to people months ago, the Duo, right? Which works both 20 and 21 pin Saturns. I did get confirmation from SED over PM that this firmware is not for the older models that are just for the 20 or 21 pins, but he is going to be putting out a new firmware in the future that will apply to those models as well as to the Duo, for all of them. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. And then I just also kind of mentioned in the story that you can still get the Duo through Stone Age Gamer. You can't get it through SED's own website anymore. The pre-orders are sold out, but not through Stone Age. And as of the time I wrote the story, the batch still had 46% of its stock remaining. Looks like it's down to 45. So
just in time for Christmas.
Right. Fun fact. Yes. Pat and I put pre-orders in.
But you can buy it now.
Yeah. So
Pat and I put our pre-orders in like a couple weeks ago, several weeks ago actually. So we're getting one.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited.
The Fenrir is like fast becoming the premier choice for Saturn ODE.
I would say.
And I'm speaking as a SEGA early adopter. That the ability to now that he managed to add the ability to maintain the drive with that little. I don't know if you have to buy a separate dongle or something to make the connection.
And they're sold out right now. To be
fair.
Yeah,
he added the 21 pin and the 20 pin right on there, ribbon cable connector onto the board. Knight, you mentioned you've been using the Wi-Fi functionality with the Fenrir, right?
Correct.
and it's been a life changer from a development aspect, right?
Yeah, the developer, it's great. I could just upload new builds right to the Wi-Fi and not have to worry about it. Well, not how it works is you set up like a repository on your computer, and then you press a button on the Fenrir menu, and it'll load it up as if it was like a folder. But
so you're streaming the build. You're streaming the build from your computer?
Yes.
Nice. So you're just maintaining the repository on your computer, and then that's awesome. That's amazing. And then
is this like a Samba drive?
No, he's using. I can't remember what he was using. I just know he
not
sets
SMB?
up his own HTTP server to get it through.
Okay, so you gotta be like running a script on your computer for it to work the way you want.
As of right now, yes.
Okay.
So
I
does
mean,
this not
hopefully he just makes it Samba.
So does this not currently work with RetroNAS or any kind of NAS solution?
No, it's not going to work with any of those yet.
But it has the potential to, right? Because I keep selling that. I keep saying, I mean, like with a Wi-Fi.
It should. Yeah, it all depends on what he's willing to invest right now.
Okay.
Like time-wise.
Right. Which I think he's got a list of priorities, and it's on there. It's just not, he has to deal with, general housekeeping and making the thing work as well as it can as an ODE first, and then that's all there. It's all potentially there, But yeah, that's incredible. I definitely. So Emerald, do you not have one?
No, I only have one Saturn, and it has a Sadiator in it, the prototype model.
Right. Same.
So yeah. So this thing, what is it? It's 140, and then that the additional attachment to allow you to pass through the CD drive. How much would that be?
Will's console mods. Let's see. Was that like 40 euro or wait, 40 pounds? I would have to
they're
double
basically on par or cheaper than the dollar at this point. So
well, we don't know if that one's compatible with this though.
Oh,
but I mean, you could still, if you know how many pins your Saturn is, you could just get one of the older ones. That's either 21 or 20 pin.
Yeah, but I'm thinking in terms of like if I wanted to go out and buy a new Japanese Saturn and slap something in it, I want to know what's the most complete setup I can get.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely, I would say this and Will's what did he call it? The Saturn switcher. This and that combined are either the same or less than a satiator in terms of cost.
Right.
So I mean,
Abrasive put his price point a bit high, and he's gotten a lot of crap for which I think is unfair. But just the current market competition seems to be eking him out, and then Terra Onion and Daonin kind of just made themselves a little bit too unattractive on a personal level to try and get something.
Right.
For the question in chat, with all the ODE options, is there a proven winner for compatibility with games? I don't know what the outstanding compatibility issues for the ODEs are. I think Abrasive has maybe like one or one half of a game compatibility outstanding issue left before it's like 100% on the Sadiator. I don't know if Fenrir has any issues right now.
A few. I know Time Gal is one of them. There's like maybe 5 or 6 games that have weird quirks.
Yeah.
Right.
Fenrir. Yeah.
Yeah, the Fenrir. So every ODE potentially has an issue. The best thing you can do is hop on SHIRO or SX and just say, hey, does anyone have any issues with this game that you're interested in? If you desperately want to play that specific game. If you have a collection of games, it's probably gonna be harder to get a full accounting for it. I don't think any of the current ODE solutions have like a public spreadsheet anymore. Well, during the beta, we had a Sadiator spreadsheet, but we stopped updating that a while ago.
Sadiator has their own Discord server, which would be a great place to ask about compatibility there. And then Fenrir also has their own Discord server as well.
So every ODE aside from the Rhea and the Phoebe, which are not really options anymore anyway, have their own Discord spaces to ask questions specifically for. But you still have to go like and list exhaustively all the games that you plan on playing for it if you want to be absolutely certain. Generally, people will be able to tell you the outstanding problem games, and everything else you can more or less assume that someone has tried it at least once and would have reported it.
All I can say is, also as an early satiator adopter, well, actually, I did not have a demo unit like you had, or a beta unit like you had, but I was a day one purchaser, and I had some problems with it, and they all got ironed out, and I'm very happy with it. I have no regrets. Definitely, after going to conventions, it was a lifesaver. Just being able to, we had like 5 satiators on us, and we were able to just delegate. This is going to be our shmup system. Got a bunch of stuff loaded on there, and we were good to go. Just being able to, because the thing is, being able to match up the ODE with a bunch of stock, Saturns that people are able to provide at a con. I wasn't bringing my own Saturns because I was traveling on the airline and I had limited space in my luggage, but I was able to bring a satiator. So Kay came and brought a bunch of Saturns, and we were just able to slap the satiator in whatever Saturn, and it worked. That's where it really is worth its weight in gold. So if you do cons a lot, definitely that's the way to go. The Fenrir, though, for your daily driver, for just a Saturn that's pretty much going to sit there and be like the one that you normally use, I would say the Fenrir just seems like such a compelling option, just because of all the potential there, the constant support and firmware updates. We see it gets very frequent firmware updates, arguably more so than the satiator even. And then the price point is great. Again, it's a community driven thing. Not to say that Abrasive isn't part of the community too and everything, but yeah, so I just
because the Satiator also has a community-driven open menu
absolutely
system.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, once I get my Duo, I will own all 3. I have a mode, and that's in my Dreamcast. It pretty much lives there now. It does a great job for what it is.
All 3 modern options, because NeoZed was actually asking about ODEs with the context that they have a Phoebe, which in this case, as far as I can tell, the Phoebe, if it doesn't have full compatibility by now, whatever compatibility issues that you experience are set in stone. I don't know if there's going to be any updates for it. My issue with the Phoebe, aside from just trying to physically locate one and dealing with the person that sells them, is that you're going to have to manufacture the discs in CCD format, which is no longer how they're commonly distributed.
Right.
But the reason why you say all 3 is because the big 3 right now that are providing constant updates, updated stock, the ability to purchase one efficiently without clones, and the ability to ask for support without getting your head bitten off is Terra Onion, Satiator, Fenrir.
Right. So those are the big 3, and again, we know that when it comes to the mode, it's a great device. I think it's a great device. It's worked well for me, but I did have those difficulties with all of the competition entries, the homebrew entries, especially ones that go that kind of work outside of,
Yeah. So the devs for homebrew stuff tend to have a Satiator because that's we all kind of bought into it at the same time.
Right.
And some of us have a Fenrir, like I said, and I just said as a Fenrir, and he might have multiple solutions as well. But if it works on PSK and a burnt disc, that's working, and it's your issue at that point if your ODE doesn't support it, because we can't. We don't have the manpower of one. It's not enough to support multiple, instances. And Fairmount to address the disc switching stuff. According to SEGA documentation, disc switching should not be necessary to play a multi-disc game. The save file should be sufficient to transfer from one to another. And as far as I can tell, that is the case for all of the multi-disc games that I know about.
Yeah. So you're gonna get a Fenrir, you think?
If I get a second Saturn, I would probably get a Fenrir and a VCD just to see what I'm missing, but I probably am not missing that much. I can't really justify the purchase right now. That's $200 in the hole, and I could be using that $200 for literally anything else.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. But I mean, yeah, definitely, I definitely recommend it. I definitely recommend that folks check it out. It's just a great option. that gets a lot of support, and again, it's got now he's not just working by himself, obviously. He's got like, a lot of support behind him, and it's being sold on Stone Age Gamer. So I mean, it doesn't look like availability is an issue as well, for the most part. So as they're cranking out batches of them all the time. So yeah, definitely highly can recommend. As well as a satiator, you go either way. There's going to be pros and cons for either. Just choose what makes the most sense for your setup. That having been said, I do need to wrap up and go get some pizza with the kids. We're going to do a movie night. I'm still trying to figure out what we should watch. Some kind of Christmas movie, maybe Home Alone 2 or something like that. But I wanted to thank our patrons for your financial support, especially to everybody that supports us, even if you give $1, it really does help. I just mentioned that Pat and I we put in pre-orders for the Fenrir. You guys help us do that, and we're gonna, of course, test them out thoroughly and give our honest feedback on the Duo and how it works and everything. So we'll put it through its paces. I also recently ordered those limited run games replacement cases on Amazon, because they lower their price essentially to compete directly with the standard Amazon cases that had been on offer. LRG, they lowered their price to $59.99 shipped. So basically competes.
For how many?
For 10, so $6 a case shipped.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, and I have to repeat that I recently bought a ton of those Amazon cases, the VGC online ones or whatever. Chris Alaska, basically, the dude that originally made them and put them on Amazon, and they're called like the second run cases. And I was really bummed when I got them to find out that the quality has dropped. It's undergone a significant drop. I wouldn't say that it's AliExpress quality. It's not that bad, because the AliExpress cases were garbage. In fact, literally they are garbage. They're sitting right there. I'm not using them for anything. I can't even put a reproduction in there because the disc will not stay on the spindle. You put it on and it falls right off.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, the whole thing, they're just absolute garbage. I don't recommend anybody gets them. But that having been said, I was really bummed out because the ones on Amazon, the second run, were really good. The quality was really good. They closed, they fastened, they didn't have rough edges. Now the ones that I got are just like a little bit more on the rough side, like they haven't been finished properly. There's a little bit of like plastic burr on the edge, where they just didn't really, that you could tell it went through the mold, but they didn't really bother like buffing it or like taking off like the burred edges, and a few little other things that are like probably nitpicks, but I want to be able to see how the limited run games cases stack up, so I can let people know what the best deal to get is. So that's another thing that patron supporters have helped with, and we just really appreciate you guys supporting us. We really appreciate those of you that are like so committed. You've decided to support us at the $10 and up level, and I'm going to read out your names: Steven Johnson, Stone Man, Justin, A Murder of Crows, Gem, Clash or Rank, Cerulean is in the chat with us here, Robert Ramsey, Nutrageous, Blue Moon, love you man, Tanuki Trev, Johannes Fetz, Rowan Dinkt, Derek Pascarella, A-Team, Shadow Mask, Mamdu Madar, Memphis, Emerald Nova, who we have right here sitting next to me, $20 patron. Thank you, sir. And Young Money Swee. All of you guys, absolutely. Thank you so much for your support. And we hope to continue to grow and continue to put your guys' funds to good use, be it through, we just had to renew our hosting, and that was a significant expense to keep the lights on, and we got like the Google Drive where we're sharing projects and stuff like that. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. Believe it or not, it's a lot more expensive to do this, and we used to just do it out of our own pockets, and our wives would well, either our wives or just our bank accounts
they would tolerate it barely.
They would tolerate what they knew about. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, but
you're being recorded.
Yeah, I know. No, it's cool. It's all good. The fact is that because of you guys, we don't, everything's very much itemized and supported, financially, and we really don't have to worry about that anymore. So we really, really appreciate every one of you. And if you can't give through Patreon, that's totally fine. We just want you to join the Discord community and engage and be active and help, maybe bring more members over, introduce them to the Saturn. It's a great console, and just be active in our Discord server. On our website, you can donate. There's a one-time link that you can go to donate. So you can just donate through PayPal if you like, using a credit card or what have you. There's also, let's see, we've got merch also available through our website. Is the merch store where you can buy stickers and you can buy t-shirts and mugs and tote bags and whatnot. Hey, there, now see, I couldn't key that out if I had you on a green screen, so there you go.
Yeah, I guess not. I'm gonna get a hot pink screen if I can.
We got the podcast, of course, where we do, Editor's Corner. We do mainline SHIRO podcast, which we're going to be recording soon. I think it was scheduled for tomorrow. And then, of course, also the SHIRO show goes up on the podcast. Right now, if you happen to be a Patreon supporter at any level, you can listen to the latest Editor's Corner, which is a quiz episode between me and Peter. It's a plot quiz, I guess, where we go through and try to read off synopsis and try to figure out what it is from the very obscure clues. It was a fun episode. And I just recorded another episode with Sega Lord X that's going to be coming out as well soon. And Patreon supporters will get it a whole week before everybody else does. So definitely there are some good reasons to be a Patreon supporter. You also get exclusive access to our private, patron supporter. What do we call that thing?
Clubhouse.
We have a little clubhouse. Yeah, in the Discord server. But yeah, again, if you can't support us financially, just like the thing right now. Take 2 seconds and just hit the like button on the smash the like button, ring the bell, whatever. I hate being so cliche, but share it out. It helps so that we can beat the algorithm that way, and we can grow the community, and we'll grow slowly, and steadily, and we'll stay kind of like a family vibe, like we are, I think. But yeah, until next time, I want to thank everybody and just remind you guys that you should play Sega Saturn. If you're not, what the hell are you doing watching this show and not playing Sega Saturn? And I'm going to roll credits, okay? But after the credits, I'm going to show one last time. I'm going to show the... oh, wait, I should show the trailer first. Otherwise, it's going to go through the stinger and everything like that. So let's do that. I'm going to show the Stellar Assault trailer one more time, okay? And then we're going to roll credits on this show and call it good, okay? So here we go. One more time with feeling is the Stellar Assault opening FMV trailer-ish. I don't know. Thing. Here we go.
Four years have passed since first contact. Earth, the third planet, fell under siege to an alien fleet the likes of which we'd never seen. The situation seemed dire, but to our surprise, the enemy were easily repelled, withdrawing at the first show of resistance and vanishing as swiftly as they'd appeared. Their technology had simply been no match for that of mankind. Considering the minimal damage done, there was perhaps a silver lining to the incident. The attack had unified us, bringing an end to eons of conflict over ethnic and religious divides. Afterward, we studied what we could from the wreckage of enemy ships, but there was precious little to be learned. The vessels had been outfitted with self-bricking mechanisms, making them all but impossible to examine. Then, 2 years later, there was a second contact. The identity of the alien menace remained a mystery, but this time, we were ready for them. Knowing another encounter was all but inevitable, we'd work together as one human race to make preparations to intercept and attack. Having only incurred minor damage in the previous clash, we'd assumed the enemy would be even easier to repel this time, but the alien invaders had another surprise for us. Their once outdated technology had evolved immensely in 2 years' time. It was now nearly on par with our own. Had we not undergone a technological revolution over those 2 years, they might have wiped us out then and there. Then, as the battle descended into chaos, the enemy vanished yet again. This time, however, we were able to track them. They had performed a series of space-time jumps, consolidating their forces at the edge of our solar system, and then, with a mysterious blast, disappeared altogether. Some theorized they'd recognized their imminent defeat and self-destructed, but ultimately, we determined it safest to assume they'd escaped, leaving open the possibility of a future encounter. Another 2 years passed, and now they've made contact for a third time. This time, certain facets of their technology have surpassed ours. This comes in spite of humanity's strengthened coordination and further technological advances since the last contact. We no longer have the assurance we once did, only questions. Why do they attack at 2-year intervals? Where did they come from? And who, or what, are they?
SEGA Saturn SHIRO! SEGA Saturn SHIRO!